Yoshi, you were excellent in this one. It really was only that mistake in the first inning with the home run. What were you seeing in that at-bat that you think just allowed him to get that swing on you?
今日全体的な数が素晴らしかったんですけども、ホームランを許した1球、相手の打席に関してはどう？
初回、多少、こうなんていうんだろう、回り気味があったと言いますか、そこからこう投球の、フォームの、間の部分を、意識して、2イニング目ぐらいからやっとこういいピッチングになってきましたけど、すごく悔しい失投でした。
That specific at bat, I think I was just a little bit like pressing a bit, muscling up, and then, but after that, from getting into second inning, I think I was getting to my rhythm, started finding my rhythm.
Is that one of those things where you point to just some of those first inning struggles and the challenges of getting going early in the game?
やっぱりいつも最近立ち上がりでちょっと苦しむ場面が多いんですけど、やっぱそこってやっぱ現時点でちょっと課題だと思ってますか？
そうですね、今日の試合もやっぱりそこがその1点で、試合が決まりましたし、よくはなっていると思いますけど、課題の一つだなと思います。
Yes, I agree. At the beginning, settling in to the game, that's one these days has been a little challenge to me. But however, I started feeling better every time I go up there.
What can you do to try to settle into a game faster? You mentioned that you had been working on it.
その立ち上がり良くなるためになんかやっていただいたこととかってありますか？
やって
その立ち上がり良くなるために課題、そこをどういうふうに修正していくかっていう。
やるべきことは自分の中で、すごく明確にあるので、これから改善できると思います。
In my mind, I'm not going to say that here, but in my mind, I know how to fix it, that challenge, struggle. So I think I'm going to work on it.
On the home run, did you want the splitter to be further down or inside, or is that where you wanted that splitter to be?
ホームラン打たれた1球スプリット、あれは自分が思ったところにやっぱいかなかったことですか？
そうですね。低めにもちろん狙って投げました。
I was trying to get it down, but that was on my mistake.
Thank you. Dave, when you look at this one, just obviously it was a pitcher's duel back and forth. What were you seeing, especially when you look at the offense? What were you seeing from Michael King and just how he kept your guys off balance tonight?
I think he just, made pitches when he needed to. I think, at sea level, his ball does a lot of good things. It's always moving. There's a four-seamer, there's a sinker. There's a slider. He throws it to both sides of the plate, a changeup in there, and so we just really couldn't, put anything together. I thought that, the Tucker ball that Sheet snagged was a big play in that spot to get a double play versus first and third. I thought Max took a really good at bat in that one inning to end it. Merrill runs that ball down. But yeah, it was just one of those things that, like you said, it was a pitcher's duel. Yosh made a one mistake to the second hitter, hits a homer, and then, that's all they could muster up. So, fortunately, we just couldn't put anything together.
When you were looking just kind of at the ninth inning with the opportunity of 2 walks, did it feel like the tides could turn pretty quickly there, or when you're facing a guy like Mason Miller, you just kind of expect that he's going to get back into things like he did?
I felt good that, we got a couple guys on base, and even Will, he runs a 1-0 count, and then they challenge the 1-0 pitch, and that flipped the at-bat. If he goes 2-0 right there, it could be a different at-bat, but he gets back into the at-bat, then, strikes Will out or flies him out. But a guy like that, he's the best in the game, and that if you don't get him, there's swing and miss in there, there's soft contact, so he was able to reset.
How much does that bullpen in general kind of change the calculus in late innings, and how aggressive you have to be, how sort of the bats kind of have to be structured?
It's tough. It's tough because Morahone's throwing the ball well, Adams throwing the ball well, and obviously you got Miller back at the back end, and I think even the last handful of years, they've always had a good pen. And, when they have a lead, they don't really relinquish it too often. And, the numbers when they're ahead 7-0 or in the 7th inning, they don't lose. And so you've got to kind of try to be a little bit extra aggressive and capitalize when you do get those chances.
Yoshi has had a decent year this year, even though the record doesn't show it. As a manager, how do you keep his confidence up as the year goes on, even though we're still pretty early on in this year?
With Yoshi, I'm not too worried about confidence. He's had the last few haven't been great per his standards, but tonight I thought was a really good one. But yeah, the win-loss, you got to score runs for him too. So it was good to see him get back after that kind of shaky first inning tonight and pitch the way he did.
Was there any thought of pulling him when he was at, I think, 80 pitches, 90, or before he went into his last outing?
Thinking about it a little bit, but I just felt that there was more in there, and for us to save an inning was pretty big.
On the play with the error where the ball got thrown into the outfield, do you think that was just sort of confusion on the play in terms of the late stop sign, or is that something where you feel like that is good to be kind of more passive on that sort of spot?
I don't. It's kind of the timing of it where Tatis came up with the ball, then when Dino's got to make the decision, and it's just hard, because you don't know that he's not going to come up with it clean, and so at that point in time, to be quite honest, Dino had the best view of the runner coming in, Kim, and kind of where they were at on the field. So it's one of those things that I just can't. I'm definitely not going to second guess it. It's one of those that, yeah, it's unfortunate. 2 outs, obviously. If we would have known different, he probably would have done something different, but that's a hard one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Freddie, I know you've expressed some frustration just kind of as to how you're feeling at the plate, but when you look at a game like tonight, is this how you're feeling, or is this just something that Michael King was doing to limit you all offensively today?
It's a good pitching matchup. Great. I mean, Yoshi made one mistake to Miguel, hanging splitter, and got it. And yeah, it's just a good pitching game, and we had some opportunities, but hard to score against Mason Miller. But it was just a good pitching matchup tonight.
Describe the challenge that Michael King creates.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to cover realistically almost about 30 inches because you got ball to strike pitches, you got backdoor sliders that are starting balls coming back, you got front door sinkers for lefties. So it's not just the plate you're worried about. You've got to worry about a whole lot of different things. And we haven't seen many backdoor sliders, and me and Max got them in the first time around. So then it opens up the front door sliders, and then the sinkers, and then you look for that, and you got changes through those zones. So he just had all of it working tonight.
You mentioned it's hard to score on Mason Miller, but does it sting a little bit more when he did have him wild at the beginning?
Yeah, but we still had really good at-bats. There's a silver lining to it. Scoring off Mason is going to be very hard to do, and it's going to take one of those kind of innings where you maybe walk a couple of guys and you get a bloop. It's not getting much squaring up going on against him, but we had an opportunity, maybe with him throwing a lot of pitches, might make him, be down in the next game. You're just trying to have little wins, and in a case of this series, and he threw a lot of pitches tonight, so we'll see what happens.
Their bullpen has been so good. Does that kind of hang over your head when you get behind early?
We know they have a good bullpen. They brought in Adam. You got Morihone sitting down there. You got Mason Miller. You still have Estrada, and they got a lot of good guys. So in this kind of series, you're going to have close games, and we just couldn't get it done tonight.
Only surrendering that one run in that first inning, that solo shot, that shouldn't, and most times in the big leagues shouldn't beat you. King was on his A game there for the Padres. Well-pitched ball game as well.
Yeah, Michael King is having a good season so far for the San Diego Padres, and I think this might be arguably his best start this year because he was really on point. He had his pitches moving, his sinker moving, changeup going. He was spotting his fastball as well. This is one where if you had opportunities, you had to find a way to try to capitalize them. The Dodgers gave themselves 7 and couldn't capitalize on them, and it's just tough. This is one of those as a player you're going, unbelievable start by Yamamoto. and we couldn't finish this one. We couldn't win this one when you had such a great start by your ace.
And we talked on the pregame show about this could very well be a pitcher's duel, and that's exactly what we got as we take a look at Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Michael King side by side. Very similar line scores as each guy goes 7 innings. Michael King gave up 4 hits, Yamamoto only 3, but you see the difference was one of those 3s was a solo home run, accounting for the 1 run in the ball game. 8 strikeouts for Yoshi, 9 strikeouts for Michael King. And Nomar, you mentioned Michael King. This is a guy the Dodgers didn't see last year because he was dealing with some injuries at times. They saw him a few times in 2024, so not completely unfamiliar with him, but he was just on tonight.
Yeah, and a few Dodgers actually have had quite a bit of success against Michael King when they faced him, but today they couldn't figure him out. I mean, you just see the movement, the late movement. You knew coming in that he has a really good sinker, and the sinker, he was having trouble throwing for strikes throughout the course of this season, but he seemed to find it. He seemed to be utilizing it. He also had his other pitches working. He had his slider working pretty well and so with that, he really kept the Dodgers off balance.
I'm trying to remember, when was the last time the Dodgers in this ballgame hit a ball hard? I know Mookie got a breaking ball, put a good swing on it, lined out to the shortstop. Then I think it was the 7th inning. Max Muncy drove it to center field. Those two are really the only hard-hit balls that King surrendered. He really had everything working. When he has that sinker spotted, along with that devastating change to go a slider, 3 elite pitches, just tough to square up.
Season high 9 strikeouts for Michael King. And on the other side, Jerry, Yamamoto was outstanding in this game as well. We talked on the pregame about him allowing a lot of home runs early this season. He did give one up in the first inning, but when that's the only run you allow the entire night, you should win that game.
100%. You want your ace to go out there and give you 6, at least 6, but possibly 7, and he only goes out there and gives up 1 run in 7 innings while striking out 8. As an offense, we have to find a way to manufacture 2 or 3 runs to give him some support. It just didn't happen tonight. Just an ultimate pitcher's duel. King was on. Yamamoto was absolutely nasty. Gives him that 1 solo shot, but you see the movement, the command of all those pitches. Great pitching performance of Yamamoto.
Yeah, he really settled in. I mean, you give up that 1 home run. You look at the first inning, too. They made him work. He threw 27 pitches in that first inning, but then comes back the next and only throws 6 pitches to get out of that inning, and then really found his groove.
Just an ultimate pitcher's duel. King was on. Yamamoto was absolutely nasty. Gives him that 1 solo shot, but you see the movement, the command of all those pitches. Great pitching performance of Yamamoto.
Yeah, he really settled in. I mean, you give up that 1 home run. You look at the first inning, too. They made him work. He threw 27 pitches in that first inning, but then comes back the next and only throws 6 pitches to get out of that inning, and then really found his groove. He was able to find his rhythm and very much this season. And man, the late movement and the split finger, that 1 split finger hung, and that's where they capitalized with the home run. That was really it. All the other ones were darting out of the zone. He had the command with the fastball. He looked really sharp today.
And I think it was Oro who said it during the game that hanging split's like a really bad changeup. It's just sitting there. We saw it last start for Yamamoto, hung one to Harrison Bader. When the ball's sitting there, guys are going to square it up. But again, just 1 mistake, that should not beat you in a big league ball game. Unfortunate.
And the Padres didn't really have many opportunities at all in this game. No. Only 2 at-bats with a runner in scoring position. No more. The Dodgers had 7 at-bats with runners in scoring position. In the 6th inning, they had 3 base hits and a throwing error by the Padres, and they didn't score a run there. They had opportunities in the 8th and the 9th inning as well.
Yeah, I think it was like 4 of the last 5 innings. They even got the leadoff runner on base. So they were managing to get some traffic on there, especially early, trying to figure out how they can score some runs. They got opportunities, runners in scoring position. As you mentioned, 0 for 7. They out-hit the Padres by 1 hit, granted, but at the same time, the opportunities, they had a lot more opportunities to try to get 1 run across at the very least and maybe extend this into extra innings. But, man, every opportunity that they had, it seemed like it was either like a pop-up, a strikeout, just a very big missed opportunity throughout this game.
That breaking ball right there just backed up on Will Smith. I think if it normally breaks, and this is the one I was talking about earlier, this ball smoked off the bat of Max Muncy. Unfortunate, Jackson Merrill able to run it down. This ball scalded. Great top hand by Mookie Betts was right at the shortstop. Again, he hit the ball hard. And here, when you got Mason Miller throwing about 102, 103 with a pretty good breaking ball to go with it, it's just tough sledding for the offense.
Yeah, Mason Miller really was able to find his rhythm early on, first two batters. It looked like he couldn't find the zone at all, but man, when he found it, he did not lose it.
All right, Padres take the first game of the series 1-0. Let's head back to the booth, check in one final time with Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser.
What a game this was. Dodgers come out on the wrong end of it, 1-0. Dodgers had a bunch of traffic in the late innings and just couldn't come up with that big hit.
Yeah, the runners in scoring position stat was not good with an offer, and when you look at the home run ball, they weren't able to execute that. And they did put some traffic on, but they got erased with either stolen base attempts or double plays or just not getting the big hit with that pitch in the middle of the plate. They did get some pitches to hit.
Trying to even up the series tomorrow.
Yeah, we got Emmett Sheehan on the mound. His last outing against San Francisco was a good, solid one. He's going to have a lot of adrenaline tomorrow because these crowds are into it.
Yeah, it was an amazing atmosphere. Felt like October already. 1-0, though. Padres beat the Dodgers in the first matchup.
All right, and that Dodgers 5-game winning streak comes to an end. Let's show you what happened Monday Night Baseball at Petco in the series opener, 1-0. They dropped to 29-19 on the season. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, tough luck loss. He drops to 3-4. Goes 7 innings, just 1 run on 3 hits, 8 strikeouts. Shohei Ohtani went 2 for 3. Also drew a walk, and Haesung Kim 1 for 2. Also walked once. Here's a look at the upcoming schedule. 2 more with the Padres in San Diego. Wednesday's series finale is an hour earlier. That one at 5:30. Then the Dodgers head to Milwaukee for an NLCS rematch with the Brewers this weekend. Finally back home next Monday to face the Rockies. Saturday's game on Fox. The rest of them right here on Sportsnet LA. Dodgers fall, though, 1-0 is the final. Let's go back to San Diego and hear from Yoshinobu Yamamoto with Kirsten and the media.
Yoshi, you were excellent in this one. It really was only that mistake in the first inning with the home run. What were you seeing in that at-bat that you think just allowed him to get that swing on you?
今日全体的には素晴らしかったんですけども、ホームランを許した1球、相手の打席に関してはどう思いますか？
初回、多少、なんていうんだろう、力みがあったといいますか、そこから投球の、フォームの、間の部分を、意識して、2イニング目ぐらいからやっといいピッチングになってきましたけど、すごく悔しい失投でした。
That specific at bat, I think I was just a little bit like pressing a bit, muscling up, and then, but after that, from getting into second inning, I think I was getting to my groove, my rhythm, started finding my rhythm.
Is that one of those things where you point to just some of those first inning struggles and the challenges of getting going early in the game?
やっぱりいつも最近立ち上がりでちょっと苦しむ場面が多いんですけど、やっぱそこって現時点でちょっと課題だと思ってますか？
そうですね。今日の試合もやっぱりそこがその1点で、試合が決まりましたし、よくはなっていると思いますけど、課題の一つだなと思います。
Yes, I agree. At the beginning, settling in to the game, that's one these days. It has been a little challenge to me, but however, I started feeling better every time I go up there.
What can you do to try to settle into a game faster? You mentioned that you had been working on that.
その立ち上がり良くなるためにやっていかないこととかってありますか？
やって
その立ち上がり良くなるために課題、そこをどういうふうに修正していくかっていう。
やるべきことは自分の中で、すごく明確にあるので、これから改善できると思います。
In my mind, I'm not going to say that here, but in my mind, I know how to fix it. That challenge, struggle. So I think I'm going to work on it.
Did you want the splitter to be further down or inside, or is that where you wanted that splitter to be?
ホームラン打たれた1球スプリット、あれは自分が思ったところにやっぱ行かなかったってことですか？
そうですね。低めにもちろん狙って投げました。
I was trying to get it down, but because that was on my mistake.
Yeah, one mistake from Yoshinobu Yamamoto. It's sad that we have to focus on that one pitch. In fact, we're not going to focus on just that one pitch no more because he was outstanding in this game.
He really was. And in his interview, he said how the second inning, he really seemed to settle down and started to find his groove, and there's no doubt he did. So we're going to go to the K-Zone. Yes, we're going to have to see the mistake and see that, but then you're also going to see how he settled down and all the other pitches were just outstanding. He was getting ahead, but here's the 2-2. He's looking for that splitter. He wants it down. We all know that. Wants to get the swing and miss, and that ball did not go down. It was just kind of floating on the inner half where a hitter would really like it. He puts the barrel on it, and then he drives it out. So trying to just kind of settle in after that, well, this was incredible. This was after 9 pitches, though. That was the 9th pitch of that at-bat. Plate, get the swing and miss, but that front door cutter, man, that is, you have confidence throwing that, that is devastating. Another one where you just give up on it. I mean, you give up on that sinker, and it finds a zone and it comes back. Then you got the split finger that goes away after you already threw the guy a cutter to get him to swing and miss. And now you go with the split finger, then you climb the ladder, the split finger again. Yeah, I would say he started to feel his groove and really gave the Dodgers a chance to win.
One mistake. I know he settled in, and this is really the best I've seen Yamamoto throw this season. After that one mistake, he was dialed in. He was outstanding. He was throwing that sinker to the right-hander, that comebacker. Greg Maddux used to do that all the time. Away, that cutter right there to Sheets is absolutely nasty. That splitter as well, but that comeback fastball, I think he needs to throw that a lot more often. This front hip cutter, that pitch right there. Throw that 10 times a day. 10 times a start. You do that, you're going to freeze a lot of dudes. Just a perfect pitch because to the hitter, you're worried about the split, you're worried about the slider, and obviously the 90, 97, 98 mile an hour fastball. You throw that sinker that comes back to the right-handed batter, you're going to get weak contact, and you're going to get swing and miss, and most time not, you're going to get the guy taking for strike 3. That pitch, absolutely nasty.
You're like, throw that 10 times. Just throw it right there. Just
right there,
it's
that
really
exact
hard.
spot.
I mean, that's what makes it so hard. That's what's tough about pitching, but I'm sure he'd like to. But he does it more often than not.
Roy Halladay and those dudes do it all